Hello there and good afternoon. This is now NTV at 1. My name is Malcolm Siva. Let's start by having a look at what we have in the headlines. And court in Mumbai has ordered for the release of travel documents for former Minister Salam Sumba and Mike Mawanda. And the Anti-Corruption Court to decide on the fate of the principal accountant in the office of the Prime Minister, Geoffrey Kazinda. Also, Uganda joins the rest of the world to raise awareness on the need to prevent and control fistula. This is NTV at 1. The Supreme Court in Mumbai has cancelled the case against former Uganda Minister Isaac Musumba and Igara East MP Michael Mawanda. Now, according to New Delhi TV website, the Supreme Court cancelled the case on grounds that the charges were baseless and ordered the police to release the passports of Ugandans immediately. The three Ugandans, an MP, an advocate and a businessman, had been charged with extortion on the basis of a complaint by an Indian firm. Musumba and his colleagues arrived in India to settle a business dispute, and instead their passports were taken away. Let's move on. The judgment for former principal accountant Geoffrey Kazinda is due at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Kazinda is facing corruption charges, abuse of office and forgery, among others, in the Anti-Corruption Court. It is alleged that over 40 billion shillings was mismanaged.
This morning, the remorseful-looking Kazinda came out of the Anti-Corruption Court cells to hear his verdict on charges of forgery, abuse of office, and making documents without authority after spending over 4 months on remand at Luzira prisons. As the court session was about to begin, Kazinda was told that judgment had been adjourned to 2 p.m. It is alleged that Kazinda, while in the office of the Prime Minister as a principal accountant between January and July 2012, he forged the signature of the former Permanent Secretary, Pius Bigirimana, to sign cash withdrawal authorization forms. Prosecution alleges that Kazinda presented the forged withdrawal forms to Bank of Uganda before withdrawing colossal sums of money. According to prosecution, Kazinda tried to defraud government by generating a serial number on account of Bigirimana, dated February 10, 2011, which he addressed one of the directors of banking in Bank of Uganda, claiming it was endorsed by Pius Bigirimana. Kazinda is also jointly facing charges of abuse of office, embezzlement, false accounting, forgery, and conspiracy to commit a felony with 3 other people. His co-accused include Martin Owol, Beatrice Kaizabu, and Hussein Katuma, who allegedly conspired to divert 316 million shillings that was meant for fuel and lubricants for motor vehicles that were meant to deliver relief supplies to the disaster-affected people in several parts of the country. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.
The opium scandals, and you might as well also remember that aid was withdrawn due to massive corruption cited by experts. Now, Kampala Metropolitan Police Commander Andrew Felix Kawesi has warned traders at Kiseka Market against indiscipline acts. Kawesi was meeting the traders following a riot that broke out yesterday at the market. The traders there are protesting against the arrest of Kampala Mayor Arias Lukwago. However, the meeting did not yield results as the traders vowed to continue rioting, and the police also threatened punitive actions against those who break the law.
Bambega oba informa bemukozesa mubongere mu obukugu kubanga paki yabikalirwa amaloko okujja okunaleta information gyemuli nga signing ifyakola ki assigninga ng'olusi babawaga bulimba ate mbuuza Jennifer Musisi wa muntu omu Lukwago bebaffe kitegeeza abantu bangi lwasi Jennifer Musisi mumukuuma nnyo okusinga Lukwago ne mumugana y'okutaayaaya okwemulugunya konna ku nkola poliisi gyekozeemu oba gavumenti tojja kukyusa mbeera nga weekalakaasa kubanga okwekalakaasa tukulabye emyaka kati 3 eyala kujjeemu ekirungi webaze Mukama. Okubiri eyo enkola yatandikako emabega kati emyaka kigenda mu 10 ye y'abagagga. Abagagga baafuusa abagagga nga bayambibwako poliisi, afuna waafunye poliisi ne bapakinga. Obwo obuzibu bwajja mu ggwanga era bwe bututawaanya.
Okusinziira tukimanyi bulungi nnyo nti buli mbeera mu operation mukozesa ssente za gavumenti. Olwaleero tufunye okukemebwa okukkiriza nti muli mu kakodyo kakubba ssente za ggwanga. Kuba tiyagaasi ffe twekakasa wa bbeeyi n'ebikozesebwa byonna buli mbeera mu operation. Naye temuvangayoko okubalirira na kutulaga nsaasaanya na nnyono na gye mwononamu ssente za gavumenti.
Kanya bwe muba muli mukisaamu ekitiibwa tuddeyo ku kye twakkaanyaako. Bwe muba temukisaamu kitiibwa twawula amakubo. Tesikirinaako buzibu. Twawula amakubo zaabika emipiira. Jajjo saagala kuddamu kukiraba wano. When I just come to Kampala, I made a gentleman's agreement with these people here. And it was purely on the security matters. But it seems some people have infiltrated the market vendors and they want to use this as a fighting ground for political battles in the city. And I will not see that one happen again. I am charged with the responsibility of ensuring law and order in Kampala, and I will not give even a single second to anybody who wants to take
Moving on, the Supreme Court in Mumbai has cancelled the case against former Ugandan Minister Isaac Musumba and the Igara East MP Michael Mawanda. And according to the New Delhi TV website, the Supreme Court cancelled the case on grounds that the charges were baseless and ordered the police to release the passports of the two Ugandans immediately. The three Ugandans, an MP, an advocate and a businessman, had been charged with extortion on basis of a complaint by an Indian firm. Musumba and his colleagues arrived in India to settle a business dispute, and instead their passports were taken away. I gave you that story at the beginning, but let's run the pictures right now.
No case has ever been made out for criminal trespass. No case was made out for extortion. The judge dismissed all those people's allegations with a very strong warning about how they should conduct themselves with regard to people's liberties. As I have always maintained, the truth cannot hide. We committed no offense whatsoever. For example, they had said we have a case of criminal trespass. The judge said, there is evidence that the two of you have been having business transactions. One of you goes to the office of the other. How can that be a criminal trespass? In the case of extortion, the judge asked, how are these facts making out a case of extortion? Did you give these people the money? If businessmen sit to try and get a settlement, how can that be extortion? These are false allegations which were fabricated by the police, fabricated by the other people, the businessmen on the other side, and it is regrettable because it is bringing a bad name to the Republic of India. So anybody who goes on saying we are criminals, we are extortionists, we are what, can be sued for defamation for telling lies against us because it's not true for slander. The businessman used the police to try and frustrate our efforts at getting the settlement which we wanted from him. The next thing we saw the police making allegations that they are extorting money. Extorting money? The Supreme Court was not convinced and it quashed those allegations.
We're now going to take a short break. When we come back, NTV has got more news for you, including observing the Fistula Day. I'll be giving you details on that story when we come back.
Play Lotto, the Uganda National Lottery that is changing lives. Guaranteed jackpot of 200 million Uganda shillings. Just dial *277#, reply and send 1 to buy a ticket. Please wait for the mobile money prompt and enter your PIN. Your ticket will be delivered via SMS. Watch NTV at 9:50 p.m. on Wednesday and Saturday night to find out how much you've won. Entries for the draw close at 7:30 p.m. You must be over 18 years to play. Play responsibly. Play Lotto. Only on MTN, Uganda's biggest mobile money network.
You're welcome back from the break. This is NTV at 1, and according to facts, it said that around between 50,000 and 100,000 women are affected by fistula, and Uganda joins the rest of the world to honor the first ever International Fistula Day in Soroti. This day is held to raise awareness on the need to prevent and control fistula, enhance visibility of fistula, and generate new ideas on obstetric fistula. Now, according to Uganda Demographic Health Survey 2011, about 140 to 200,000 women of reproductive age suffer the disease.
The magnitude of fistula is quite on the higher side. We have talked about the numbers. An estimated 140 to 200,000 women and girls still live with this condition, and over 1,900 new cases occurring each year.
The Minister of Health recognized fistula as a big public health problem in Uganda and a sign of great injustice to women and the girls who suffer from this condition. It is highly prevalent in our communities, and therefore an urgent need to address it. Working with the partners, the Minister of Health has trained a number of fistula surgeons and deployed them to the fight to handle this case. Currently, all the 13 regional hospitals in the country are offering fistula services. These are also private national referral hospitals and some private and NGO hospitals. Many more patients are also treated in obstetric fistula camps by locally and visiting surgeons with a success rate of over 80%, which is very good if you take the repair services.
There's some ray of hope it can be stopped, delaying the age of the first pregnancy. That's fistula. Moving on, growing onions is easier than you might think. When growing on fertile soils and given enough water, it may take only 3 months for them to mature. One farmer who found that out is now growing it on a very large scale.
In Katonya village, Chirugu sub-county, Rubirizi district, bordering Queen Elizabeth National Park, lies a big garden of onions. This garden belongs to Jonathan Ahimbisiwe, a former civil servant who has now become a full-time farmer. After retiring from civil service in 2005, Ahimbisiwe thought of investing in an income-generating activity to sustain his family.
In the early stages, when I was still a bit young, I used to grow some tomatoes on a small scale, just about a quarter an acre. And I could get money which was reasonably big in comparison with other crops which other people were growing.
With 100,000 shillings, he rented half an acre of land to grow onions.
The little money I got, I found it was something a bit bigger than what I used to get in as per month in my civil service time.
The returns from the first sales encouraged him to expand by acquiring land to grow more onions and other crops like tomatoes and maize.
When those crops got matured, I sold them. I got some good amount of money, whereby I found that really in farming, if one could continue with it, it really pays.
When he had just started, it was a solely family business. But as the farm expanded, so did the labor.
I have more than 10 workers per day. I no longer use my physical in farming, in digging. Just I use workers, just a matter of order and management only.
Ahimbisiwe currently grows different types of onions. Onions, just like many crops, need fertile soils and enough water to flourish. They therefore do not do well in the dry seasons.
At times during the dry season, our crops don't do as we had expected, thus reducing the yield in the end, also the money which normally comes from an acre, it gets reduced. Or at times you get nothing.
The biggest challenge on the farm is still lack of water during such seasons. The nearest source of water is in the national park, which makes it sometimes hard for Ahimbisiwe to access water for irrigation. For now, Ahimbisiwe uses watering cans to water his garden.
And even if you do it, it is not so efficient. It is not as efficient as if someone had a real watering, irrigation, a real irrigation, as say if we could take an example, either one overhead.
When watered adequately and the garden is sprayed to get rid of weeds and prevent diseases, the onions grow rapidly. In 3 months, they are ready for harvest.
Per month, I get 8 million shillings from the different types of crops I grow.
Although Ahimbisiwe reaps a reasonable amount of money, he still faces a problem of middlemen who have taken advantage of his lack of transport to buy the onions at a cheaper price.
There are some middlemen who come right to our farms and buy our products. These tomatoes, maize, watermelon and whatever, they come to the farm and buy, but not at a satisfactory price.
Ahimbisiwe knows that his fortunes will only change if he is able to save enough to acquire means of transport. Gertrude Tumusime Uitkware, NTV.
Thank you, Gertrude. Nice piece, inspirational for the farmers and upcoming entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. Now, coming up is sports and professional boxing.